Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton. Along with me, as always, is our girl games guru, Bethany McChesney. And today we have, I don't even know what level you got to, Cole. I would call you like a high level CrossFitter, high
Yeah.
level CrossFit competitor. But not only that, right now, as it stands, the fastest Canadian male Hyrox racer. I guess the
Yeah.
fastest Canadian Hyrox racer. I don't know if I'm going to say the best overall because, Maria might get mad. I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm a little afraid of Maria, so
Well, I mean, she's still got that Elite 15 title, so I think she can hold that title for a little longer until I get there.
what do you think it'd take to crack the Elite 15? Like 50,
Yeah.
56-ish?
Low 56. I mean, I have a 57, 56 time right now, which is good, but it needs to be improved upon. I think it's like low 56 average you need right now.
Hmm.
So I either put up to like mid 56, low 56, or a high 55, low 56 kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, we're
Um,
gonna we time. I want to talk some more High Rocks later on, but I want to go.
yeah, no problem.
I want to go. I want to go through it. I'm one to get myself sidetracked right away anyway, but I want to go through the big thing. And right now, we had the games a couple weeks ago, and this was something that, and I think both Beth and I said this. We weren't really going to watch.
Mhm.
And then our friend Carolyn ended up making it, and I think Beth was the same as me. You can tell me if I'm wrong, Beth, but had to. I couldn't not watch it to support Carolyn, even no matter how I kind of felt about other things. Um,
Yeah,
and obviously our issues were from last year with the tragic drowning of Lazar Dukic. And, I don't know if you call it still holding a grudge or just the fact that, we felt changes need to be done. But the one of the reasons, I mean, it was just time to have you on, but one of the reasons we wanted to talk to you was you were someone who has a very rare perspective. You were actually there. And the rest of us
yeah,
were just watching media. We're getting fed what we were getting fed. We don't, we were there. So, I mean,
yeah,
if you're okay with it, I'd love to have you kind of describe the situation, how it happened from your perspective.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And like I said to you before, it actually has been on my mind quite a bit. I also like seeing all the past memories pop up. I know a couple of different Instagram pages posted some uh, tributes to him. So it's been on my mind a lot. From my perspective and what I saw, I remember watching there's about four or five athletes within the same vicinity of him. There wasn't too many. He was kind of on his own. But from where we were, and I honestly was pretty far away from him, but it was very clear that he wasn't swimming naturally. He was changing his strokes quite a bit. He was going from freehand, he was going for to doggy paddle, he was going to breaststroke. And that's not something you typically see from high level swimmers like CrossFit Games athletes. So I just was kind of keeping my eye on him, not expecting anything to happen. And then he kind of stopped, did a few circles, kind of like looking around, and then he was under. And it all happened pretty fast.
You know, and I don't know. So everybody else, all of us at home, right? We all
Mm-hmm.
got fed this stuff and developed our own opinions. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious from your perspective at the time, the CrossFit community seemed divided. And
Yeah.
it's CrossFit's fault, it's a freak accident, it's somewhere in between. Everybody had their own opinion.
Yeah.
So in the short term, how did you feel? Like, did you think CrossFit did all they could, and this was just a freak, unavoidable accident, or this was something that maybe could have been prevented?
Um, I was very upset. I was very upset. Where I wanted to direct those feelings, I wasn't sure. It, Clearly, CrossFit could have done a little bit more for the athlete safety. There could have been more lifeguards, and there could have been a whole whack of things. They shouldn't have swam after the run, all those kind of things. But what I was most upset about was the two lifeguards that were in the vicinity, the amount of attention that they were paying to the athletes. Like there was only 5 or 6 athletes in that area. And if they're actually watching the athletes, it would have been very easy to spot. I mean, I spotted it from 200 yards away or however far we were. They were right beside them and they couldn't even see it. And then after we had started screaming and yelling and somebody jumped in and everybody was pointing and we were like somebody's drowning, they really didn't take it seriously and they just disregarded us. So that was very upsetting as well. But I mean, like, yeah, you can you can point fingers at CrossFit, and I did that for a while. I was pretty upset with them, and yeah, I mean, I wasn't planning on watching the games. I did watch a bit of them. I love I love the CrossFit competition. I love everything about it. But yeah, there's obviously some feelings there as well.
And a lot of people, let's see, during this and when it right after it happened, that was on the Friday. That was event one. The big question was, are the games going to, well, not the big question, but one of the big questions was, are the games going to continue?
Mm-hmm.
And there's obviously, again, so many different perspectives and opinions on what that happened. My big question about this was, um, do you think like Dave Castro and CrossFit intentionally misled the athletes and the fans in order to get the games to keep going?
That's a loaded question. It's very tough to say. Maybe to a degree. I don't think that like Dave Castro just doesn't have a heart and he just wanted to push on no matter what. I think it was a very tough decision. There was athletes that really still wanted to compete, and then there was athletes that didn't. So looking at it as a whole, I mean, yeah, it's tough to say. I can see why they still went on and did the games, but I also can see why a lot of people were very upset that that happened. Um, I know there was talk that he did kind of mislead the athletes and ask for their opinions, but disregarded their opinions. And I'm honestly not 100% sure on the accuracy of everything. But yeah, it was tough. Like we stayed and watched the games after it happened, and it just felt it didn't feel right.
Um, I know myself like, and Beth, did you ever go back and watch it? Because I couldn't go back and do it.
I didn't really watch anything after that because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
from my perspective too, so many of the athletes walked away. And it didn't feel like a true CrossFit Games to me anymore. And even the way that people were competing was just different. Like I felt like so many people were just kind of going through the motions. Like
Mm-hmm.
it didn't feel like a true competition anymore. It was people were doing it. Some people out of obligation to sponsors, some people doing it because, it might be their one and only shot at competing, and it didn't feel the same. And so it was hard to watch in that way. And,
Yeah.
we might have had feelings about whether it should or shouldn't have gone on, but it did not feel the same. So it was hard to keep watching. So I really didn't. Yeah, and that was just I guess that was just personal for me, I guess. It was just and just how I felt
Yeah.
about it. And I mean, I think if I was there, I wouldn't have continued competing out of respect for the family, but so maybe that was just kind of my way of, I'm going to step away from it too.
Yeah, and honestly, I kind of felt the same way. Like, and the reason why we did stay and watch was just to support Emma, who's a really great friend of mine. Um, but I mean, her head wasn't really in it either after. But yeah, it was tough for everybody. It was just yeah,
Mhm.
I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. And I think def I would just say from my perspective, if I was in your shoes, I probably would have done the same thing.
hmm
But from over here, I did actually try to watch some of it after and I'm like I couldn't get involved, you know?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
I just couldn't get involved in it. And actually, well, that and to be perfectly frank, Chad was a boring workout and terrible to watch anyway.
yeah,
But
yeah. That was horrible.
yeah, that was horrible. So I mean, but yeah, I couldn't get into it, and I couldn't even place my finger on exactly why, but I just couldn't get back into it. Um, the PFFA afterwards, or PFAA, I always get that wrong,
Mhm.
released some demands, which I think was a stupid way to word it, but released some demands where they wanted transparency, they wanted to be part of the council, and then they wanted Castro removed as head of sport or whatever. And I mean, I don't think Beth and I have even ever talked about this, but do like Cole, do you think maybe Castro and Don Fail should have fallen on the sword for this one?
Um, I don't know necessarily if Castro should have. I know he programs the events, but I don't know. It's tough to say. Yeah, you're like when something like this happens, someone obviously has to take the fall for it. But um, I can see why like athletes wanted him removed because I mean there was already concerns about safety issues before this had even happened. And then when something like this happened, this was basically like the last straw for a lot of them. But I mean, like the point of Dave Castro's job is to find the fittest and to test the athletes. So for like looking into like Dave's job, just from that perspective, I think he does a great job of it. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes in terms of like all the safety that's disregarded, all that kind of stuff. If he has more to do with the safety of the events and that, then maybe yes, he should be a little bit more responsible. Or does that fall on Don Fall and CrossFit to make sure that the safety is provided for these athletes? I don't think it was smart to put a swim after a run like that, but again, they've done that many years and everything has been okay. I think with a little bit more safety measures and some lifeguards that were actually trained, this could have been prevented very, very easily. So I think it's just one of those situations where it sucks that this happened. It really sucks, but it's hard to like point the finger at just one person.
I think it's such a hard question for us to answer because we haven't been competing at the games for, look at people like Fikowski, who he's been there for 10 years, and there's a side of it that he knows better than we can ever. And
Absolutely.
um, so I kind of look at it as there's a lot more that goes on that we'll never know. And I know
Yeah.
that there's things too that they're not necessarily supposed to discuss. So we are not going to ever get the full picture of everything going on. So I feel like if from their perspective, if they're demanding something at this point, I think there is probably a lot more that has
Mhm.
been going on behind closed doors and within the competitions that we don't really understand. So I think for them to make such a specific demand, I think it was probably a lot worse than we would know, even just from this, this one obviously was the worst possible outcome. But I mean, I do think there's been a lot of things that have had to happen leading up to this point for them to say something like that.
Yeah, I agree with that, and especially coming from somebody like Fikowski, who is very respected in the sport, and he has obviously a very smart athlete. He wouldn't make that kind of accusation or demand, obviously, without some reason behind it. So I can see that as well.
Mhm.
So for me, it comes down to a couple things with this. It is Don Fail, right? I've got that right. That's
Yeah,
the
Don Fall or Fail. I'm not too sure how you pronounce his last name.
all
Yeah.
right. In my mind, from the limited bits that I know, that's actually the guy who I think should take the fall for Lazar's actual death. He would be more in charge. One thing, I don't think Castro has anything to do with the budget. That's not
Mhm.
him. And if you're cutting back on safety somewhere, that's a budget thing. That's not a choice. It's just like, hey, let's cut back on safety because that's fun or it helps the games. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It would be a budget cut, and that doesn't come from Castro.
Yeah.
Right. He like you say, he's there to program and test the games. Does he have maybe something to do with like the director of the event? Yes, but budget is not his deal. He doesn't make those
Mhm.
decisions. Um, and then if you disagree or agree with the continuing of the games, again, that would not be Castro's decision. That would come from
Mhm.
above him. He would just be the messenger on that one. the problem and the reason, so for me, Don would go because I look at from a construction background, and that's like if we have these events happen sometimes, we have deaths sometimes, we have major injuries, and I see when workman's comp and stuff, and then the safe work OSA OHS I get the letters all wrong when they come in, somebody pays the price.
Hmm.
The problem I had with Castro and why before and in the past I had thought he should be removed was, and I'm going on this because he admitted this in a post that he did not have the family. He told the athletes in the meeting that we had the family's blessings to continue, and later we found out that that was not true.
Yeah.
So to me, if you're misleading your athletes that way, and I'm using misleading, and I think is a kind phrase because I personally would view that as a lie. But if you're misleading the athletes to get that to happen, even though I'm sure he was instructed to do so,
Hmm.
I'm very certain it came from above. That to me is enough that as an athlete, I don't want to have that guy running my event just because I can't trust him. And if I
Yeah.
can't trust him, that puts him in an odd spot. And it is a very difficult scenario though. So I'm saying like it's cut and dry, but it's not. It's not because there's still when you think back to, well, I do work for other people. I don't know if I trust them, right?
Hmm.
So it's very complicated. But in my mind, in my work world, that would have been the price to pay for that.
Yeah. I
So
agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. As soon as someone lies, especially with like something like that,
yeah.
I mean, like if he's gonna lie with something that big, I'm sure he could tell some smaller lies quite easily.
And I feel for the man because I'm sure he
Yeah.
was very much pressured to do so. And I do not think
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think he's an evil monster. I don't I
No.
don't think, I'm sure he was like, I have a job to do. This is the job I'm supposed to do. And now they're so
Yeah.
I feel for him, but at the same time, we are all still responsible for our actions. And I think that was an action he should have refused.
Yeah.
All right. This kind of rolls through it. So afterwards, CrossFit said we're going to launch a third party um, investigation and promised to have transparency on this investigation. It was on video. Don made the video. So it's not like hearsay. He actually there was a video. We would get full transparency into our findings. They never delivered on this.
Hmm.
Um, Two-part questions, and again, I don't think Beth and I ever talked about this because we avoided this topic quite a bit.
Yeah.
Do you think they should have promised that? And I guess why do you figure they did not deliver?
I mean, like it's very clear they didn't deliver because they were at fault.
Yeah,
Like especially coming from my perspective, like seeing it happen, it was very clear that that was very like easily avoidable. Like easily avoidable. It wasn't like a triathlon or an Ironman where there's freaking 50 people, like or 100 people all on top of each other. This was like 6 or 7 people, whatever it was. It wasn't that many, and there was two lifeguards literally within 50 feet, and they didn't react, they didn't see it, and they didn't pay attention. So I mean, yeah, there wasn't much to tell after that. I knew they were at fault, and them not coming fully out being transparent just shows even more of that. So
yeah. Beth,
Yeah, sometimes I wonder why these so-called lifeguards have never been held more accountable. And
mhm.
like, we've never ever even been told were they actually lifeguards or were they just volunteers? And um, like you said too, was it a budget issue? Because I don't believe that even if you had asked a couple like more volunteers to just be in the water on paddle boards, like I mean, I'm sure Cole would have gone out on a paddleboard just to
Mhm.
be like a flotation device closer to the swimmers. So I don't think yeah, I'm just curious as to why we've never heard, the perspective of these so-called lifeguards. Like there's so much more to this too that I just feel like is being so quiet and secretive that they've never ever really come out with. And honestly, a lot of it too, though, I think at this point is that now there is a lawsuit. So much of this has to be kept kind of quiet. obviously his family
Absolutely. Yeah.
is taking legal action against CrossFit. So and and that's why it wasn't really talked about at the games this year, which is something else like we're gonna get into that too. But because of the legal proceedings right now, I think a lot is not coming out just for protection of what's going on with the court system. But there's still so much that I have so many questions about.
The surprising thing was for me was that they ever promised transparency from the investigation at all. Because if I'm their lawyer, I'm what are you doing? Like you
Well, I
don't
think initially they just wanted it to be like, let's move on and then we'll talk about this later. Like, kind of like the CrossFit Games is the big show for the year when it comes to CrossFit. So to them, they're like, the show must go on. The show must go on. We have to get this. And then just kind of pushing this thing aside until they can deal with it after the competition itself.
yeah, I would just think about it like from a legal perspective right off the hop. As soon as that happened, I'm sure attorneys were all over it. I know CrossFit has many attorneys, I assume,
Mm.
and it would have been like just shut up. Like just say
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is
Say nothing.
yeah, this just say we would love to make more comment. We'd love to give you more information, but this is very much a big legal matter, and we don't want to interfere with an investigation. So we will comment at a time that we are able to do so and leave it at that.
Yeah.
Because now again, it just came out as another reason why the community and the athletes would lose trust in
Mhm.
CrossFit HQ, and it just
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe we will hear more once the lawsuit's done. Like you never know. Like obviously they're not going to come out and say too much when that's still going on. So yeah, I know that could take years, right?
yeah. All right. Well, so like I said, that was a lot to catch up on, a lot to kind of get the base about. And I do, and I'll say it straight up, we can edit this next part out because I did not send you this question. And I thought about it after. You put up a post afterwards,
Mhm.
basically, because I assume so many people were messaging you. So,
Yeah.
rather than have to go through everything just to put up a post about the situation and what happened and what done. And you got a bit of flack.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean, like, I know it's never wise, they say, to engage with people online and stuff like that. And everybody has their own way of dealing with this stuff. But I mean, I think back, like, I heard things like, and I like, if you were there, why didn't you dive in and things like that?
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
before you say anything about it, because I do want to hear a little bit of your thoughts about it, I would just like to say to those people, fuck you. Like,
Mhm.
seriously, fuck you. You
Yeah.
don't know. You're not there. You've never been in this situation. It's very easy to say, I'm a motherfucking hero when you're sitting on your couch at your keyboard and claiming somebody else should have done something,
Yeah.
or giving somebody else flack. But come on, like it's not that simple. It's not that easy. It's and and
It's
and
not. Yeah.
and when you're dealing with these same people, I'm sure that when they drive by car accidents on the side of the road, they're always pulling over to make sure everybody's okay. They're doing that. No, they're not.
Hmm.
It doesn't work like that. There's
Hmm.
sometimes that happens. Sometimes it's just those people. I'm sorry. Again, fuck you. Like that's
Yeah.
just horrible. And I know that you're not the type of person to say that on your own behalf. That's why I am saying it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I remember putting up that post like when I got back to the hotel, just because I had a lot of messages saying what the hell's going on. I didn't expect it to go off at like it did. Like I had people like news outlets calling me like multiple times, like probably 20, 30 calls from news outlets. I had Hiller Fit calling me, Savon calling me. They were all calling me, and it makes sense now because I was one of the only people that had like exact information into what happened. There was only maybe a handful of us that actually saw it. So it was a little overwhelming, but I just turned my notifications off and tried not to engage. I did engage back a couple times just because, yeah, it kind of pisses you off when people are like, why didn't you jump in? And it sounds so simple to say that to somebody, but I mean, we were so far away, it would have taken me minutes to get out there. I'm not even a strong swimmer myself. So what am I going to do with no flotation device? Pull him out? Like the water was completely murky. Once he went under, he was gone. Like there was no getting out there and saving him. As soon as the lifeguards didn't see it happen, it sucks to say, but he was gone.
In my mind, your post made perfect sense. You were just
Mm-hmm.
informing everybody because you had been flooded with message. It made perfect sense. So it very much angered me that people would be like that. And it, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was just one small thing. And I wanted you to know that anyway, from our perspective, we supported you. We thought you made the right decision. And
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
all right, moving on. This year, did you even participate in the Open this year?
No, no, I didn't. We ran the events at my gym, but nobody signed up for it. A lot because of what happened, and then a lot because I was already transitioning into Hyrox anyways. But it felt off, it felt wrong, and there was a lot of people at my gym that really did not want to do it. So I kind of, yeah, just said no, we're not going to do it, and shut her down.
And go ahead, Beth.
Oh, I was really interested in all the stats for this year and kind of what happened and with the numbers with CrossFit because I see it too. I'm a gym owner and we actually had a gym in my town shut down a couple months after the CrossFit Games last year because there was just it was like mass exodus with supporting CrossFit. So this year I was curious too about what happened with the Open. So open registration was actually down 32%. So it was numbers got down to the level that they were at 11 years ago. So they haven't been that bad in 11 years. So open registrations. And I remember even seeing I've never seen so many ads coming out to try to get people to sign up for the open. And then talking about how prize money is going to be affected because of the shrinking numbers with the open. So yeah, they were down a third from what they were over the last 10 years. So it's pretty remarkable. But I mean, we see it and it just even what people were just talking about like nobody at my gym was interested. Usually we would do it just kind of for fun. We're not a CrossFit gym, but we do it sometimes just for funsies and nobody even mentioned it. Like it wasn't even really brought up at all. So
It was, I didn't do it. I had normally just done it. I was one of those guys that did it at home in his home gym. And I would pay my $20 and I'd get the shirt and do that. And yes, this was my small form of my own personal protest because I feel if you want change out of a company, the only way you can do it is to hold your money back, right? That's
Yeah.
your only voice is okay, if I keep giving you my dollars because you're doing something one way, that means I like what you're doing. So if I'm not paying you, that means I don't like it. What bothered me too from this thing was how many people online. One, I just hated seeing everybody going back and forth at each other. There's no need. But what really got me was people in like high profile positions telling other people, well, if you're not signing up for the open this year, we don't want you. You're not part of the community, la da da, and all this stuff. And I'm like, again, that's
Yeah.
one, that's not going to help your cause. You're just going to push people further away. But two, you're telling people they shouldn't have a voice about stuff when clearly they should. They should be able to speak their opinion. So that bothered me about that. But I didn't again. So that was my protest. I didn't do the open. And one, I also didn't like the system that they put in this year. It seemed screwy and weird. Um, but past that, we have all admitted that we did watch the games. So
Yeah.
going from then, and we're gonna move on to let's call it slightly happier stuff, or at least not so down. What was your take, Cole? It's like first off, what did you think of the programming? Because it was a different style than from say the past
Yeah.
4 years or so, whatever. It definitely took a different turn in programming.
I actually really liked it this year. I thought they did a really good job with the programming. I really liked the event. They were fun and engaging, and they tested the athletes in multiple ways. Yeah, I honestly like after watching it, I don't have anything to say negatively about what went on. It was pretty well run.
I thought to me, as again, I've often considered myself a CrossFit neophyte, possibly novice, really low, whatever low is. I thought it was the most CrossFit games that I've seen.
Mhm.
I've always been one. I'm not as big on the gimmicky stuff, you know, and I like
Yeah.
to watch CrossFitters do CrossFit.
Mhm.
I want to watch the top people do the thing they do the best. And I thought I got that out of this one. And I found it more compelling than any of the other games I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Like you said, I like
Yeah.
programming. I like that it was I don't even like normally I don't get too excited about the max lift stuff. I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. The squat one this year, I was hooked. I was in.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun to watch. Like
That's like
engaging, right? Like just yeah.
yeah.
I think it's the one thing too where people that are watching as fans can kind of equate themselves into it. Because you can watch someone do a workout and you can kind of estimate, oh, I might be able to do it in this amount of time. But I think that one is the one where people can directly compare themselves to people. And I thought it was interesting too, because again, I was reading a lot of articles about, the numbers and stats and stuff with the games this year. And they said, there was one specifically where it talked about Instagram followers increase. So they tally up who's the top 10 CrossFit Games athletes who gains followers like
Yeah,
throughout.
I've seen that.
Okay.
Yeah. And they
Mhm.
said whoever does, there's always a max lift in the CrossFit Games, whatever it is, whoever wins that event is always in the top 10. Always in the top
Yeah.
10. Which, because
Yeah,
I
I
think,
remember I remember sorry, go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. Well, and I was saying, because it's always, I mean, we saw Jack Farlow, he won in 2 years ago when he won the max lift event. And this year, I'm blanking on his name, the short.
Colton.
Cole, yeah, Cole Mertens, he won
The
it.
Iron Hog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great name.
gains 10,000 followers. Yeah. So within that event alone, he gained 10,000 followers. So whoever wins that event is always in the top 10 of followers gained. And I think it's because it's the one where people can relate. And it also crosses over into, our pure lifters in the gym. So it's the one where they're like, oh, I want to see what that guy's doing. Like, what does he do in the gym? So I find that event so interesting because as from a spectator it's interesting. It's not as exciting as some of the workout events, but it seems to be the one that sticks in people's mind too, is the one that they I don't know, it draws people in. It's so interesting to me.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Hmm.
I think the way they set it up to it moved fast. Like it
Yeah,
moved
it was like one person after the
boom,
other. It
boom,
was
boom, boom.
good.
It wasn't,
Yeah.
and it was like three lifts and you're done, three lifts and you're done. And I think honestly too, 30 from 40. So the waves were cut. We weren't watching as many waves. We weren't watching as many people we didn't know, which I know for some people is a sad thing and makes it more harder to get to. And we don't get as exposed to as many athletes. But as far as just, again, a viewer on the outside, it streamlined it and it made it easier to digest, easier
Yeah.
to consume.
No one watches the first heat anyways, like the bottom 10 guys. It sucks to say, but even when you're spectating at the games, usually the stadium doesn't fill up until the final heat's coming out. So yeah, having 30 people, I think it made it a lot better.
Hmm.
I think what you're touching on, Beth, too, though, when you say that the max lift always has somebody jump out of it and kind of a star rises out of it. That's why I was a little surprised there wasn't a classic hero wad or something like that, or a classic CrossFit wad that everybody does.
Oh, where they have a number.
Yeah, where they have a number. So like again, and I'm wearing my Murph shirt, right? So everybody related in CrossFit has done Murph. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying they should have used it because I've used it a bunch of times. But after whoever wins that would shoot up because everybody can directly relate,
Mhm.
right? Just
Yeah.
like you said, like the squat one. Everyone can relate to how much you can squat and get blown away by just how much Colton did, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we should be saying Miriam too, because
Miriam, yes.
Hyrox girl Miriam did win this
Exactly
event.
with the Hyrox thing, yeah.
Yeah. Who is now the first person on Earth to be top 10 in a Hyrox World Championship. She was third in 2022 and then She was what, fifth, sixth at the games? Fifth, sixth. What was she? Seventh?
She's in the top 10. She's in the top 10.
Yeah, she was in the top 10. So
There you
first
go. How
person.
would you keep this labeled as top 10 in both?
Yeah. Yes, top 10 in both was what Miriam did. So first person.
My question is, would she be competitive in the Hyrox scene at all right now?
No.
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 And that's the thing.
Sadly, we love you,
She's
Miriam,
a
but
CrossFit
no.
she's a CrossFitter at heart. 2022 Hyrox, way different.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right. Like the amount that Hyrox has come in the last like year or two is just insane. Like the
when
numbers have just blown up.
when Miriam was near the top of the Hyrox world, she was the only one doing unbroken wall balls. And
Hmm.
she,
Yeah.
and she, I mean, we all know even now, if she was to go in there and it was just a wall ball competition, she's probably going to smoke everybody. But
Yeah.
now, if you're a top 10 to 15 women and you're not doing unbroken wall balls, you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that's the bare minimum now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's more about repetition speed than actually going unbroken. And
Yeah.
but you're right. She would not be there now, but
No.
we all
It's
still
still
have
impressive. Like, don't get me
yeah,
wrong. Like,
yeah.
she did incredible this year at the games. Like, very good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, I I isn't she like I think they said like the first open winner to come top 10 or something like that?
Yeah.
Something
Usually there's somebody that does really good in the open, then they show up at the games and then they don't do well at all.
because there's
Just
such
because it's such a different test. Yeah.
yeah. But I had no like I knew Miriam was strong. I did not know she was that powerful. I knew she had been doing some weightlifting competitions, strict weightlifting competitions over in Switzerland, but I don't know. I just didn't put together that she was going to come out that powerful. I do think though that was it Greer that
Yeah.
I think she left too much in the back. She had more to give and I think I hate to say this, I almost would have liked to have seen them go one more each.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think there was a couple athletes that finished, and you would have liked to see them do one more. Even Mertens, I would have
yeah,
liked to see him do one
maybe,
more.
maybe another 10 pounds in the tank there.
Yeah, yeah,
Almost like in track and field and jumping and throwing events where they take the top six and then they just compete against each other and they get three more lifts.
But you know what's funny though is I say that and we say that now, but if they had done it when the thing, I'd be like, oh, this is too long.
hmm
There's just no
yeah.
pleasing.
And it's
It's
also like being able to perform with just three attempts, like not knowing you have three more. It's like, can
Mhm.
you do it under the pressure? And that's why even with Olympic lifting, sometimes they only have two lifts. Like I've known they've done an event with like two snatches, two clean and jerks, and it's like it's not a lot, especially if you've done Olympic lifting. Like you're gonna have to take a big and scary jump, and it's gonna see who can do it under pressure. So yeah,
man, yeah, because if you did two and let's just say you miss your first one,
yeah,
all of a sudden your safety lift is gone and it's like
yeah,
crap, you have to completely reevaluate your strategy, right?
exactly. Because you have to get something on the board, and it's you don't want to fail again. So yeah, it puts you in a tough spot.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Anyway, so like I said, I love that. And this year the live stream, I thought again was really well
Mhm.
done. And I come down to this, and a lot of people didn't like this part. Now I wasn't there, so I can't comment on it. None of us can, but it was in Albany, New York, Albany, New York, not exactly the tourist destination of the world. Yet the venue, I think, helped create the things we liked about it.
Mhm.
So do you think in the future, do they build on this or do they start to or was this a one-off and they start to transition back to the way they were going before? And what would you do? What would you think they should do?
I don't know. I think with the success they had this year, we might see them do it again. But I can also see them like I mean, no, I know for me, like part of the CrossFit games that I liked too was like the field events. When they were in Madison and they were out on the turf and they were flipping the pigs and they were doing all this other stuff, like the stuff that you don't normally see. Those were always a lot of fun events to watch. And you're kind of limited with just an indoor venue for something like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, I'm okay with a little less, like I'm okay if they do some stuff like you say, outdoor turf, flipping pigs, doing things, odd object carries. I'm okay with
Mhm.
that. Would just like to see still. I'm okay with a little more known and knowable and a little less unknown and known and unknowable. I like
Yeah.
I like to I don't care about the fancy surprises. I just want to see people who are the best at something do what they're best at.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think that's why they released so many events pretty early this year.
Well, I think
Like
that and they
they,
don't seem to be able to keep them secret anyway.
yeah, that too. But Uh,
All right. So moving along. This year, Hyrox, we're in a new season now, right?
yes.
Things qualifying process really hasn't changed much for
Yeah.
solo individual man for your perspective. Do you, except for one thing, and I'm wondering your take on this. No more LCQ, which is probably something that would have suited someone like you quite well.
Hmm.
But however, we do get North American um, regional,
Regional. Yeah.
which is something that because it extends down further, maybe that's something you may get a chance to qualify in. Did do you think that was a good move to the change in system away from the LCQ into these three regionals?
Um, I do like the idea of it because it does give some athletes more of a chance to race in that kind of elite 15 style race in terms of like having nobody else out there, being on the grid, all that kind of stuff. But I think if this sport's going to grow, we need to get away from time qualifications. It's so clear that every course is not the same, and it would be stupid for us to even think that they could make them all the same. It's different venues, everything's set up differently. Like it's just you're gonna have different variables, and the fact that like you're seeing guys run 2 or 3 minutes faster in one venue and then go to a different venue and it's just completely different. It's just you're basically racing as much as you can now to hopefully find one of those fast venues to put up a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we've been banging that drum for years.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just too much reliance on luck. Like you picked the right event, like you picked Berlin last year, or
Mm-hmm.
just basically sure I like spin the globe, and then you get lucky with the course that's fast that year or whatever in order to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that was why I was such a big fan of the LCQ because it was so fair.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It was
exactly. I think yeah, and I agree with you there. Like the last chance qualifier, like it's who shows up that day and who performs, right? Like
Yeah.
it was great competition. Like last year, and actually, to be completely honest with you, I didn't realize that anybody could sign up for the last chance qualifier.
oh,
So when I started watching it last year, I'm like, wait, this is just a regular race that anybody can go into. I thought it was like an elite 15 last chance qualifier.
see, Cole, you need to listen to us more, man.
I know. And so I was actually kind of bummed because I actually would have flown out there and gave it a shot. Like, absolutely would have been out there. So, yeah, I had no idea.
It, I think it was like again, like I said, the most fair race. I was hopeful that this year there would be more races like that.
Hmm.
Um, Not that I was stunned when they took it away and replaced it with the regionals, which I mean, it's not that the regionals are bad, but the regionals again, even if they did want to do that, make those open to everybody. Even if it is just one spot, which it's anyway. But yeah, at
Yeah.
least I just again the time qual needs to go. And the other part that disappointed me too was I'm very excited about the doubles races. I'm enjoying them. They're a lot of fun. And I thought this year they demonstrated how well that qualification process worked.
Yeah.
And then they went, this worked great. Let's take it away. Like
I know.
now,
I
now
thought
you
I
have
thought the doubles one worked great. And like it brought a lot of like elite level athletes to just like those regular events. Like you got a great show at like so many different events because there was a lot of these top level athletes showing up.
yeah. And like I said, I think there were so many teams that were in there we didn't expect and people who didn't see. And we said that so many times. I
Mhm.
thought they would have bought into it and realized this was great, but clearly they have, and we don't know what it's like on the inside, on the other side. It is what it is. But I thought if they did the same thing this year and then just ranked their top 15 times by times, but still, had it open to everybody, you're likely going to get the top three teams in the top 15. It's likely going to
Mhm.
happen. And you can put on a great live stream, a great show. You can still put on the same show you put on for everything else, and it would be
Yeah.
huge. It would be awesome. Um, so this year, what do you think is your game plan? What do you how because I assume you're going to try to chase the Elite 15. Well,
Yeah.
what's our first
I
stop?
have I have Boston, Toronto, and then Chicago, hopefully, if they release tickets. I haven't heard anything about it on that. Yeah, I know. And then so I'm supposed to have three solo races coming up. And then me and Isaac Sanderson are doing doubles in Dallas, and we're really going to chase the Elite 15 in doubles. I think me and him could be a really good team.
I yeah.
I was gonna ask you who's your doubles partner this year. That's awesome.
Ask
That'll be
ask ask Jay Muscard if he wants to race with me again. Oh, oh, I love him. He battled. He did so good.
Poor Jay's been too busy doing a lot of work.
He's so busy.
He told me the other day, he's like lost a bit of legs.
Yeah, no, me and Isaac are going to team up this year, though. We're really excited about it. So,
Isaac has great potential. Like, I mean,
oh
so
yeah,
young, so quick, and like,
yeah, he's such a good runner. He's just so smooth, and he's so like he just floats. He's very efficient.
I've been rabbiting a couple times and we're in races he was in, so I'm running with the camera beside him, and luckily for only like 500 meters, but
Yeah.
it's and him just going like I remember like I think it was the first time I saw him at a Decafit, and he's like, "We're good pace here." Like it's like he's so gifted that he just mid run just start. I don't know. It was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
an unreal athlete and a great guy, like just such a
He
great.
is. He is.
But, all right.
So yeah, that's I have those three solos coming up. Hoping to yeah, put up some good times. Like I said, I need to be in the 56s.
What do you think about Vancouver and Ottawa?
I'm happy that we see seeing a couple more in Canada. Ottawa's not the best time. It's kind of like late May, I think. So it's kind of like getting close to that World's time. Likely won't do that, but that's okay. At least we have some more Canadian races to choose from and get to spread it out a bit so that we're not seeing everything sell out so fast.
See, I think we talked about this, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, Beth?
But yeah, 2 weeks, maybe three.
I think Ottawa's going to sell us huge fast.
I
Just
think so too. Absolutely. Yeah.
I
and
mean, you have to think the masses are not looking at necessarily most people at this point just want to try their first Hyrox, especially in Canada
Mhm.
where we haven't had that many. So just getting into one is a big deal. So May and June are such big months for racing in general. So I mean, people don't really care how close it is to Worlds. So May, I think, is a fantastic time to put Ottawa. Vancouver, though, the weekend before Christmas is going to be a little bit of a gamble.
Yeah, yeah. I think May is a good time to put Ottawa. I just mean for personally, it's not going to be something I'm looking into. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, if
Yeah.
you're looking into Ottawa, then things haven't gone right.
Exactly. I mean, a little tune-up race.
Hmm.
Yeah, there you go. Go do a relay. What do you think about someone was talking about this the other day, or I might have been I heard a podcast, it might have been Rock's Life with Mo on, and they were talking about the system they use for the relay at Worlds for the four-person relay. I mean you've been at 2 years in a row.
Hmm.
I assume it's been a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been excellent.
Do you think that they need to evolve this or keep going the way it is? Like have a captain pick a team, do it some other way? How would you set up this relay? Because I think,
Yeah. It's tough, man. And it's tough to also it's tough on the captain too to choose a
oh
team,
yeah,
right? Like it's like I told Maria multiple times, like I don't envy being in your position at all because it's such a hard decision. There's so many athletes that could be there, and then you feel like you're letting someone down. And like you're friends with multiple people, and it's like it's just a not a fun position to be in. So I personally don't think it should be a captain that chooses.
yeah. I don't know what I would do with this event. I like it. I enjoy watching it. I'm going to do my first one in Toronto. I'm excited for it, but I don't really know how I would set this up. I don't know if like
Well, if they're all about time goals, just make it the four fastest times in that country.
Yeah, I mean, you could do
Just
that.
make it simple, right? Like you don't have to complicate it, and then it doesn't put the
Yeah.
stress on the captain to make a choice. Like,
Well,
you know,
especially
if they
too,
want to stick with their times, like,
especially too when you're doing the captain thing, and what are they giving them, like 2 weeks to pick a team?
yeah, yeah, not long.
So I don't know, Beth, how would you set it up?
I mean, I like when we're talking about a sport where there's times and it's very objective that you just go by times. Take the emotion out of it, take, who I'm friends with, who I like better, who has more Instagram followers, and just make it time based. And even if
Yeah.
you're, with the relay though, the unique part is you can kind of have specialists. I mean, you don't really want, like we saw with, I think it was Australia, you don't really want a super specialist because you need to still have someone that can run and do the station. But even have someone submit a video where they do their run into that station, if you're just we're looking for a person that can sled pull and farmers carry some of your times and just make it objective. I think the choosing thing is hard, but again, we're talking about a sport where there's times and you can just pick people based on how fast they are. So, I think, but also when you're picking someone like Cole said, who has proven themselves in the Hyrox space, I think they should also be given the opportunity to represent their country. So, fastest times in a pro race.
Yeah, because then you're not going to get people that like have never even raced a high rocks before,
Hmm.
right? Because like you're like, yeah, there's probably going to be somebody out there that you could find that can run a kilometer fast and then do an unbroken farmer's carry or whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? So you might have captains choosing people that haven't even done a high rocks before just
Hmm.
to jump into this elite relay, which is I feel like there should be some barrier to entry before you can just jump into something high level like that.
Yeah.
You think you could ever get to a win in your in deal where you actually have to, like the other thing, like other races, win an event to get in?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many events I think I just saw today, over 100 events this year.
Yeah.
There's got to be, like, I mean, to me, and this might not be a super popular opinion, I would personally abandon the country thing, as fun as that can be, and just be teams and have it be a fair qualification. You win, you start just like some kind of qualifiers, like we have with everything else. You go there and you get your top three or whatever it is, your winners, and you're in. And
You
have
no,
actual.
you not have it be a country competition?
I understand that. Yes, I did. And that's
No.
I don't buy into the Olympic dream. It's not real.
No, everybody wants to wear their country.
I understand that. I understand that. I would rather see the doubles be that than the teams, because the teams just, it's just too much. You know, there you go. There's another question. What do you think about the Olympic, um, I guess the Olympic dream, the chase of the Olympics for high rocks?
Yeah, I saw that tossed around. I mean, obviously, it would be really far out at this point. There's a lot of things they have to work out before that would happen. So, I mean, it would be cool to see, but I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon.
Yeah, you were polite and diplomatic. I think it's hogwash.
Yeah.
All right, Cole. Well,
Yeah.
I think we've kept you enough for tonight. I want to thank you for your openness, your candor. I mean, a lot of that stuff is tough to relive and tough to go through. And it's divisive stuff. So
Mhm.
appreciate your honesty. Beth, take us home.
Yeah, thanks again so much, Cole, for coming on and talking about that. Yeah, with the CrossFit Games just happening, we can go over the leaders and stuff, but there was still a lot more going on with the CrossFit world right now. So we wanted to have someone come on who had a bit more of a perspective that a lot of us didn't. So thank you again for sharing your side of things. And yeah, we look forward to seeing what you do this season. So all the best. Get in that Elite 15, Cole. We need a Canadian male in there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's always an honor to come on here and talk with you guys. So thank you. And I'll go make Canada proud this year.